bnyx.
Action. Watch this, watch this. There's two behind you. Here's I got knifed, oh my god. Thank god. Is it there?
Running forward for some reason, I really don't know why. Go to your mw3 here, next to your GP, so just enough Alright, test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, actually, I'm going to be going over my classes and my settings. I know it's the new year, some people are just getting the game for the first time, don't really know what to run. So in this video, I'm just going to go through all my settings, what I run. Keep in mind, don't copy everything that I use. Classes and all that are fine, but some of the video settings and stuff, just keep in mind of your parts and all that. You should still be able to follow along for the most part if you're on console as well, but just so you know, this will be on PC. So I play PC with controller. Yeah, I know, basically cheating. No, honestly, I'll switch between keyboard and controller. I like them both. So yeah, let's go through the keyboard and mouse settings actually. So for keyboard and mouse players, this is for you. I didn't really change much besides the ADS sensitivity type here. I changed this to legacy. Not 100% sure why, but I heard a lot of people were using that. I did use some custom sensitivities, I think at one point, but it's up to you, personal preference. Over down here on mouse calibration, I put on mouse filtering 2. And then I didn't really change any of these other ones. You know, I don't play on mouse and keyboard as much as controller, so I would recommend going to someone who plays it primarily for this kind of settings, but this is just what I run. This honestly works really well for me. I like to keep it simple. I don't like to change it up and do like crazy settings because a lot of it comes down to muscle memory. So try to get comfortable with something you like, and then just stick with it. I don't believe I changed any of the other stuff. Oh yeah, then I have a weapon swap to my side mouse, and then the melee on the other one because I think it's a little annoying to reach for. All right, so controller. This is where I did a lot more of my settings, but it's really not much. So none of this, I just did, you know, bumper default. This is all personal preference. I come from Xbox, so I don't flip the bumpers and triggers. I personally like the way it is, but that's up to you if you played PS3 and you like the bumpers more for shooting and aiming. I don't do controller vibration, or if I do, I typically do like 20%, 20, 25. I like a little bit. It's nice for like the immersion and stuff, but it does, you know, throw you off, so you don't need it. And then for my dead zone inputs, this is something that you have to play around with. It took me a long time to figure out what like dead zones even really were. It is a little confusing. I think this chart is a great addition. They need to keep adding this because this helps a lot for people to understand how or what it's doing. So these are my dead zone settings. The reason I dropped my left stick maximum is because my controller is a little bit broken. Thanks, Scuff. No, I'm pretty sure I screwed it up by switching my thumbsticks, but I've noticed now that when I'm rotating the stick, right? But when I get to the top, I got this little dead zone right here. I have right here. Now, it's getting worse and worse. Sometimes I can like fix it and it'll go up to about 93-ish. That's where I found it's consistent. But it screws with like the automatic tack sprint because it'll start like, you know, jittering and I'll like keep like, you know, like sometimes I'll cry in the videos about it. But this is basically why. Right now it's kind of acting up right now. I think I also have one at the bottom too somewhere. Rule of thumb for dead zones is you want to keep the minimum as low as you can to make it the most responsive, but not until the point where it's like this. Hold on, I'll show you. But you don't want it to look like this. You don't want them to keep shaking. Bump this up as low as you can before it starts shaking like that. Now, I could probably get away with doing a little bit more, but I'm comfortable with 10. And like I said, if you are comfortable with your dead zones and you don't even feel like your aiming is that off, just stick with the default, you know? But if you want to give it a shot, I recommend is getting this minimum, try 10, see what you think. Go down, keep going down one by one until you start to notice that it shakes what I would do normally is I'll just move them around and then I'll drop them. And I'll see if it'll ever just like get to a point where it starts doing something like that. That's when you need to bump it up. But this is perfect for my controller. I love it. It's actually kind of fun to watch. And then for the right and left trigger, it doesn't matter. I honestly don't. I have scuff. I have a scuff controller, so I have the. Hold on, can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's basically a mouse input. It's a click, not like a full like trigger where it goes like where I don't have any range, so it's literally on or off. So I don't screw with any of that. But even if I did, I wouldn't screw with the trigger ones. But yeah, just keep messing with it, and you'll find something. All right, for aiming, I run 12 cents. Run about a 0.85 ADS sensitivity multiplier. I changed this actually last year, like the end of last year, and I really liked this change. I loved it. Basically means your sensitivity is going to multiply. It's going to get faster or slower based on if you're aimed in versus if you're not. So if you feel like you have a good sensitivity walking around, but when you aim in, it's all like it's too slow, then bump it up. Or vice versa, you just go backwards, I like 0.85, works for me. I don't think I changed any of this. Oh yeah, also, I know people have been changing this thing. I didn't change it. I'm just going to leave it. I don't think it actually is doing anything, so. I actually did recently change this. I'm now on standard instead of dynamic. They did also add this curve slope scale, which I've been kind of messing around with, but it just kind of seems weird. It doesn't seem like it makes, I haven't found anything better than just standard or dynamic. So try all three of these. If you haven't run in one for a long time, try like standard, and then all these. I run the default aim assist. And then this is like kind of a placebo thing. Someone told me that I should change it, but in the motion sensor, I just turned off this FOV sensitivity scaling. I'm sure it does nothing, but I just did it. So if you try it. And then for gameplay, I don't do automatic tack sprint because my controller sucks, but also because I prefer pushing the thumbstick in. I'm an old head, sue me. I feel like I'm a lot more confident and I don't make stupid decisions and rush like a fuck ton when I'm doing this. Cause I'm not just going for clips. I'm trying to have fun too, guys. I do a single tap run though, instead of double tap. This is really nice. So what this does is I'm walking and then when I push the stick in once, I go right to the sprint. I love that because it's just like the old games, I hate the the 3 sprinting like options, like having to go through all of them. I like the old CODs where it was just one or the other. So that's what I do. I also ground and manual off, all this off, slide only. You guys can look through all these, copy them if you want. All right, that's it for the controller settings. Okay. All right, now for the graphic settings. All right, so I have a NVIDIA 4070 Ti. So I got a kind of an overpowered GPU. So some of these settings, take it with a grain of salt. This game looked great on low, so don't feel like you can't run the game on low. Honestly, no one will notice. Even if you're recording, no one will notice. Trust me. So all this is just default. I run full screen borderless. I've heard that it makes no difference between latency and all that, so I'm gonna assume that's true. I got a 144 hertz monitor, 1080p. Brightness, I do run at like 52. I actually had it like 55 earlier, but I run it between anything over 50, basically. Makes the game a lot easier to see from in like corners and stuff. I do the NVIDIA reflex low latency. If you have this option, do it. It's honestly the most beneficial when your GPU is like a lot better than your CPU. Like in my case, I have a 4070 Ti and a Ryzen 5 5600, which is just like a typical normal CPU. So I run this and it makes my GPU basically work a lot harder. Eco mode, just do custom, VSync menus off. Frame rate, I just do unlimited at this point, but I would just cap it around your like refresh rate and like maybe a little bit higher. Like if you have like 60 hertz, I would do like, like 100 frames, or like if you're like 120, just do like 144, you do 160, blah, blah, blah. And then for autofocus and all that, just do like 30. It'll help your performance a lot. And then focus mode, I didn't change this, just left it. All right, for the graphics. So I just render resolution 100. I don't do the dynamic resolution. I don't really like it the way it looks. I just use the Fidelity CAS. I recommend trying all of these yourself. There is a lot of them now. Just give them all a shot. But if you just want to go with one, this one I like a lot. I also do 100% because I'm insane and I like sharp edges. I think this is just for 4000 series, this option, but it's literally just like a lighting thing for the gunsmith and firing range and stuff. The VRAM scale target, I just dropped this to 70. It's actually made my game a lot more, it crashes a lot less considering you see I don't use anything. I don't utilize my card at all, but that's just because I want the most consistent game possible. Plus with recording and all that, you got to make sure I want to make sure everything's good. I also have been using this variable rate shading. I typically don't use these kind of settings where it like screws with stuff for performance and all that, but for this, for some reason, I've never had an issue with it. Honestly, I really like it. The only time I actually notice it is when I go between like menus. It'll like be a little pixelated, but that's the only time I actually have ever noticed it. Or this might be the one that's only the 40 series. Yeah. Okay, so this, if you have this, I do not recommend doing it unless you like don't care about being competitively better. It gives you a lot of frames. This thing will double your frames. I was getting like 400 frames using this, but the latency, which is the time that it takes for your your input to respond on screen, that also doubled. So it's not a good trade-off. All right, so texture resolution, low. I don't really care for it. Honestly, I could get away with doing normal, but it uses like a lot more. Honestly, they don't look that much worse. But this texture filter, I just do this high, so it just kind of makes everything look a little nicer. Depth of field, I have off. Detail quality, off just for competitive reasons. It's better, a lot less like foliage and stuff, so you can see a lot better. This, same thing. I'm just gonna stick with low. These are just personal preference. They don't really change much, but this one apparently does, so I turned it off. Shader quality, I have it on high, but I thought I had it on low. So it just depends on your computer. I assume I probably just because my computer isn't going to struggle with it, but if you just need any frame you can, just drop it all low. This as well, you can do low, but I do it normal. And then all of these ones, shadow, you can get away with very low and low. It looks pretty bad, to be honest. That's up to you. This just turn off. It's ambient occlusion. Makes a lot of things look better. Playing campaign, these settings are good, but competitively, it just makes corners even darker. Screen space reflections. This is honestly a cool effect. It's like, as you can see, like just like lighting reflecting off the ground and stuff, but you don't need it. Same thing with this. Tessellation off, this is just a competitive thing, just turn that off. Volumetrics, you can have that low if you want. This is actually a joke. I was doing that to show someone, but to have this off. Yeah, just have all these off, yeah. For this, you can get away with being low. It honestly isn't. Like you can see the difference, it's really not that much better. And it's honestly a little bit more distracting. I just like the way it looks. And then for my view, so I use 115 FOV. I don't use 120. I don't know, I just kind of liked 115 for some reason. I do affected. It makes me feel like I run faster, but if you feel like you cannot see from a distance at all, like if you struggle to see people from far away, try independent. When you aim it helps a lot seeing it from a distance. This I have on wide. If you're on PlayStation, I know if you have this on wide, it causes that, what do you call it? That like 200 FOV glitch. So if you have that issue, just turn this back to normal. And then this 90 that, blah, blah, blah. Motion blur, weapon motion blur, turn that bitch off. You don't want that. Motion blur for movies and stuff, yes. For gaming, no. Film grain is off. This is just a personal thing. I do this when I like record cinematics and stuff when I want it built in, but that's just personal. This I just have on least. Yeah, it helps with motion sickness as well, but this is just the best in general, so you don't get as distracted from grenades and stuff. I have a third person 80. I don't actually know what this really. I'm not really sure what that is. And then this I have game perspective because typically I want that for my videos, but that's up to you. I like the helmet cam to it. And then also inverted flashbangs. Oh, if you don't know what this setting, I'm about to save your life right now. Gone be the days of being flashbang in real life from Call of Duty. So that's the graphic settings. For audio, just use regular headphones. I don't think I've really changed much, except this I run really low because my settings are really weird, just for recording and all that to get everyone's voices. This all lobby, I have all that stuff. Playing through the wrong one, actually, no. We just have all the typical stuff. Subtitles, no. I do use the classic hit marker sounds though. That is cool. All right, and then for interface. So for this, I do a couple settings. So the first settings, we're gonna go down to HUD. Okay, so for crosshairs, I like to turn this to static instead of on, and then I press show more, and then I turn on center dot. Now you can choose how big you'd like the size of it. Some people like a little bit larger. I'm gonna try larger actually. I wanted to see how it was, but yeah. Definitely recommend this. It helps a lot. Minimap, make sure it's square so you have the most like vision. And then HUD bounds, oh my god, I just voice cracked. And then for HUD bounds, I actually do lower this a bit. It just brings everything a little bit closer to the middle of the screen by like a little bit. It's not much, but try it out. Makes the game look makes everything a little bit easier to see. All right, after that, we're gonna go back up to color customization. Now, I do a lot of settings in this. This is the fun part, to make your game look pretty. So I go here, it'll be on default for you. Just go all the way down to custom, and then we're gonna come all the way down. We're gonna go to color filter. You're gonna be on none. You're gonna go to 2. Actually, there's a third one now. Maybe I'll check that one out. We're gonna go filter 2. You're gonna go to color filter target. You're gonna do both. You're You're gonna go to world color intensity, bump that up to 100, and interface color intensity, and bump that up to 100. So I know someone in my comments asked how I got the green like teammates on the minimap and all that, because I know it's blue by default. I went through all this and I changed it back to the old Call of Duty ones because I'm an old head. But that's really cool. I like this feature a lot because you could do a lot of things. I know a lot of people use purple because it's easier to see for enemies, but I like to stick with red. I also make them a little bit less saturated, so they're a little bit easier to see. And that should be basically it for the settings. All right, so for my classes, honestly, I have a lot of random ones, as you can see, a lot of them from bundles and videos and stuff. One of my favorites right now is this intervention. I do sometimes will just take the barrel off and then run like let's say like the MCPR scope or whatever. And I like this scope a lot, honestly. But this is my baby right here. This is my beauty. But yeah, I basically just run the TAC command 19 barrel just for the ADS. VKL laser because ADS. We have the FJX Lux 7 because of the movement speed. The bolt because it makes it faster, obviously. And then the grip because it makes it ADS. And then I have this like OG camo on it. But honestly, this is one of my favorites right now. I've been using it a lot. I also got this MCPR build right here. It's just a typical one. You've probably seen it a million times. The typical gear I run is I use the infantry vest. I know gunner is pretty good, but honestly, I like infantry more. I like movement a lot more than like gear and all that. I've been running this either between the marksman gloves or the quick grip or the scavenger. Depends on what I'm playing, but this one also is pretty good, especially with like the longbow and stuff. This I basically always run covert, but I also like running these tac pads. They're really nice for just movement in general. These are also really fucking good, honestly. Low key, no one talks about these, but they're fire. And then I typically always either run EOD. What the fuck? I typically always either run EOD or Ghost. Sometimes I run like cold-blooded, but I know it was bugged out last season, so I wonder if it works now actually. And then I showed this class off last video, but I'll show it off again. And here's one of basically my sweat class. Alright, so that's basically it. I just really wanted to show off some of my settings. I hope it helps out some of you. I know there's a lot of settings in this game and it's a little bit confusing and the recommended settings are not very good. So I hope this will help out some of you at least. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Thanks for the constant support. Seriously means a lot. Just gonna keep uploading. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.